What's up, y'all? New episode of One Could Argue, and originally this week I was going to do an episode on cancel culture, but in the midst of everything going on and working out what I wanted to say, it wasn't something that I could fit into the window that I had for wanting to do a podcast every Wednesday. So that in and of itself made me decide to hold off on the episode, and it really just made me think about something that I think is really, really important in life when you find yourself in those situations where you've committed to something or someone, whether it's self-imposed or something someone asked you or whatever. And that's being able to walk things back. And I think that's really important because it allows us to create space and regain control of situations that we feel like we don't have control anymore because of what we've committed ourselves to. There's been a few times in my life where I've decided to do something and made certain connections or went out and did certain things, and whether it was new information that came into play or things that I just forgot and later remembered, and it was like, oh shit, like I probably shouldn't have made this decision, or I probably shouldn't have set that up, or I probably shouldn't have whatever. And through just talking to Groove and just thinking, it was just like, you realize you have more space to undo it than you thought you did. It may not always be convenient. You may have to make that phone call that you don't want to make, that's like, yo, my bad, bro. I know we said we was going to do this, but something came up, things changed, I'm sorry. Or, you know what I mean? Just all of the different scenarios that it can play into. But that is still better than following through with something that can cause way more damage later on if it's actually done, than getting ahead of it and being like, you know what, I'll just have to stop it. Because I think, we put these, demands on ourselves or allow other people to put them on us. And it's not always a demand. Sometimes it's just a general ask. And out of the kindness of your heart, you want to do it. But things come up. And with sayings like, be a man in your word and all of these other things, that was something that bothered me, because I was like, yo, I don't want to be someone who says they're going to do something and doesn't do it. Or I don't want to be someone who someone can't count on. And I think a lot of times with sayings like that, they become too literal. It's like, oh man, every single thing I ever say I'm going to do, I must do it no matter what, whether it's a smart decision or a dumb decision. And some people don't even realize they're smart or dumb decisions, and they just do it out of the want to be a person of their word. And I think the more you grow and the more you understand that things happen, life isn't so black and white, that you realize, yo, like there's going to be a good amount of time where I make commitments and things come up that I couldn't have expected, or things just happen that won't put me in the situation to do that in whatever space, whether it's, yo, I know I told you I was going to come to this thing today, but it was a super late night last night. I didn't get any sleep, and I don't trust myself to drive that far because I might fall asleep on the road. That's way more important than going to whatever it is. If you can risk, dying on the way there in a car accident because you fell asleep. These are things that you have to think about, but I also think it requires getting over that fear of the communication, or like just addressing it like, yo, like I said, my bad. And I definitely have experienced the dread of having to make those phone calls because, the other person is looking forward to it or excited, or y'all talked about it for a minute, but you can't allow the fact of, oh, it's been a day, I told them 2 days ago I was going to do this, or we've been talking about it so much, or they already, got this person to agree and whatever. You can't allow those things to make you feel flustered and not make the call. Because like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you do follow through with it, sometimes it's not going to, when you come out on the other end, it's not going to be something that you're really proud of, or the risk that went into it, or the consequences are like, yo, like I would much rather have dealt with this person just being mad that it got canceled than everything that came up because it went through. So I think that's, just the lesson for this week, going through this week and just through life. If you find yourself in a situation where you make a commitment and you can follow through with it, perfect. But if something comes up for whatever reason and it makes it not possible for you to do it, don't do it. You know what I mean? Don't allow those pressures to weigh on you. So even like I said, a perfect example today, I was like, yo, I can't do the original episode I wanted to do. I looked for an opportunity. made this. I'm still dropping on Wednesday, but I'm doing it under my terms, and it still is able to work out. So on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you on next week's, because we're doing this every Wednesday. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at One Could Argue, and my personal page at KVLE.